Okay, now this is the one. This is the part that I was talking about. Authentication legs, one leg, two leg, three leg implementation. So what we have seen till this point was all about three legs implementation, where we are saying, okay, end user is there, that's the resource owner, then client application, that's third party application, medium.com in our case, and server, that's authorization server. And here we are not talking about a resource server, that's this one, because this server is not actually taking part into the authorization piece. The authorization part is between this user browser and authorization server. So that is the reason we don't consider that in this when we say three legs authentication flow or auth flow. This is when we say two legs auth flow. So what does it mean? So here it's simple that we don't involve end user in the flow. We say that okay, end user is out of this, and we have a trust relationship between servers, and it will work on its own. So the same way as I said earlier, but here user is not supposed to do anything. Now we have, let's say, my client application and authorization server, they have a trust relationship. Now every time user logs in or tries to log in, he will just say this medium dot application will say that okay, I want to get access token, and then authorization server will give access token, and then using that access token it will request a resource server. Okay, but still here we are saying there is a requirement of authentication server, authorization server. Sometimes it is not included, access token is not required, because you get authorization token which is sufficient for you to get access to all this information. The last one is about one leg. This is very popular these days, because if you say I want to make a, this is my medium application, or any other application, loan application, which is trying to get this information from this server, resource server. Now, if I have to make a call to authorization server to get some details or token, and then make a request to the authorization server, then it's a painful activity, and I don't want to get involved in all these things. So I want to just bypass. I want to make too many calls to API server. So this is what we had studied last time in last session. We talked about HTTP session, two-way SSL we talked about. So when we have a two-way SSL and trust is established, so we know who is calling and who is serving the request. So in that case, trust is already there, and in that case, we don't need any other third server to do the authorization piece. So there is a different mechanism used in a OAuth, where we say that okay, whatever we are requesting, we are sending, we will hash that information, we will sign that information, and then send it across to you. So whenever customer receives that information, that time it will say okay, now whatever information is sent by the correct party, or we know that who is sending this information. So trust is already established. Okay. Those who have understood last time, although I'm linking it with last time session on this one, but if you understand SSL, a mutual SSL, that's a private certificate and public key certificate communication, how it happens, and the trust is already established. On the similar lines, this information is also sent. We had also talked about message digesting or encryption of the data using private key and public key. So similarly, a similar concept is used in case of one-legged authentication flow. Okay. So this is just a simple example how it happens. In two legs, we are saying, okay, go and talk to authorization server, give me some token, whether it's authorization server token or authentication server, access token doesn't matter. So it is getting that and then sending it to making a call to the resource server and get this information. Okay, so here only authorization server and third party is involved. There is no user involved in this layer, this flow. In case of one leg, this is the one that I was talking about, APIs, along with when we are sending API requests. So that time we are sending all this information to the server. So application, this is the application and this is the service. So service, when we are saying service, it's like API service or RESTful service. So this information is sent to all this information where OAuth, consumer key, or nonce, token, timestamp, signature method, OAuth version, all this information is sent to server. service. So service will validate this information and then grant resources. So once it is resources are granted, so actually it will return the response back to the application. Although it is shown as a two arrows, but it is a single flow. This is a request flow and this is a response flow. Any questions?
No.
No questions. Okay, good. So I think we can get into more details of this also. A consumer key is a key about a client identification, some client identifier. Then nonce is something like a unique identifier. This is generally used to do any attack, DOS attack kind of attacks, where some one application is there which is sending the same request again and again to our servers, and we are not able to identify whether request is new request, it's a same request. So that is the reason we say for every request I want a separate nonce value to be propagated here or populated here, so that based on this I'll understand, okay, this is a new request. And along with there is a timestamp also. This combination has to be unique, timestamp and nonce. Then token is because we are saying that token is not required, so it's going to be empty. Here we are saying signature. So when we are saying signature is required, signature method is required, all this required, this is required, what does it mean? So every request, API request will have a some body payload. So this payload, request payload, along with the hashing, this complete payload is signed by customer using its own certificates, and then it is said that, okay, this is my signature. So for example, if you understand Bitcoin and this mechanism, so what it does is basically whatever data we have it, or hashing algorithm basically. So whatever data we have it, on that data, if I perform some hashing algorithm with some keys, then automatically that data, whatever key is generated, let's say XYZ is generated. So next time, if I also perform some operation on that same using same algorithms, always it will produce XYZ only. So that's a beauty of all this hashing and signature. So signature is like you are using your own certificates to sign this, and we already have an SSL relationship. So you are signing using your private key, and then when I receive it, I am just going to verify that signature and other stuff using your private public key. So we'll verify and say that, okay, this signature looks okay. On top of that, sometimes we also use something called as a hashing, as I said earlier also. So in hashing, what we do is we have this access token, we have body, we have all this information, and then that is hashed using Google body hash. And then that Google body hash information is set as a parameter, and then whole thing is signed using the signature. So whatever we talked about, signing it. So hashing is there, signing is there, all this information is there, and then once it is created as a signature, when we validate it, it becomes very easy to understand from a server perspective whether any information is changed during the transit of this information. So data integrity is maintained or not, that is validated on the server side. Okay.
Okay.
This is where nearing sessions. Okay. This is few terms, technical terms, which I used here. Don't go by heading. So these are the general terms which are used in technical language, like JWS is there, JSON Web Signature, and JSON Web Encryption is there, JSON Web Token is there. So these are different terms. So let's say let's see understand one by one. JSON Web Token. Within JSON Web Token, we are going to send the information. This is just a client information it's going to send in the JSON format. I hope all of you understand JSON format because we don't have time to cover that part now. So within JSON, we will send, okay, what is the client user ID, or what is the role. This kind of information will be sent in a JSON Web Token. Now, if I send this in a clear text, I know that somebody can change this, somebody can manipulate that. So how to go about that? So we can perform different things here. So one is a signature part that we just now talked about, of signing that with GWT token using the signature and sending that in a clear text as well as in a sorry base64 encoded fashion as well as in a signature fashion. So from both angles, I can verify whether data is clear, data integrity is maintained or not. But all the time we are talking about data integrity only. But when we talk about JSON web encryption, that time we talk about encryption of the data. So this data is encrypted before it is signed. Okay, so that way not only data integrity but also data security is maintained. So generally we go for a JSON web encryption along with signatures. So that's a algorithm which is used generally in case of OAuth, because data integrity and security is topmost important. Now, OAuth, all of us we have understood it very well. So OpenID Connect. OpenID Connect is sits on top of this concept, and then it gives a mechanism or ways to handle all this information, how to go about this validating the signatures, how to validate handle this encryption. Because if you think of it, okay, every API developer is supposed to do all this stuff. Now you have to support. You're supposed when if you're calling a API, then you're supposed to create JWT token, JWS, JWS, all of that you need to manage. You need to look at the algorithms, what all things are there. So OpenID Connect will have all these algorithms predefined, available as a libraries. It will have its key set and everything is available. So from a developer perspective, it becomes easy to implement this and make a call to the APIs as well as to receive a call and then validate a client request and proceed ahead on that. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, Vinod. So about
Yeah.
the JSON web algorithm, what kind of algorithm is it? Like, um,
Basically, when we say hashing algorithm or encryption algorithm, there are different algorithms. But generally, when we say encryption algorithm, it is like RSA SHA-256 algorithm is used. So whenever this information is sent across, so that time I'm not too sure if it is covered here. It's not covered in this part, but we also specify the algorithm which is used. For example, whether RSA SHA-256 is used for hashing of it or for encryption, what algorithms is used. So it is mentioned. So generally, it is RSA based algorithms are used, whether it's SHA-256 or AES or encryption. This kind of encryptions are used.
got it, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Vinod, I
And
have a
there are,
question.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, maybe not specific to this, but in general question.
Uh-huh.
So when in the beginning, when you showed the screen, when Medium shows a page to select multiple options to log in for a different website, right? In the very beginning.
Mhm.
So how, I mean, this page is launched by Medium, right? This option is
Correct.
given by Medium. Okay.
Right.
So I mean, I'm just thinking, is there any uh, kind of a security or kind of phishing thing which we should be aware of, because that's a screen which comes up and we enter your user ID password.
Correct, correct. So now
So,
when you are saying that I want to click on sign in Google, that time when you click on that, so actually the next page which is going to show up, that's a Facebook, although I have not here taken the URL, but you should be looking at a URL. What is a URL? There should be HTTPS lock out there, and then facebook.com or google.com should be there.
yeah, yeah,
So
okay,
that should be sufficient for you to ensure that okay, this is a site. And most of the time, whenever you're saying that you want to go with Facebook or Google, you're pre-authenticated. So that is the reason you choose that, because you are using that very, very frequently.
yeah,
And if you say Google, Google will always prompt you with already existing using user ID that you have used last time. So that gives a hint. Okay, now this is my user ID, and it's a proper site. And you can always look at the URL. That should give you a fair idea of whether it's a correct site or not before entering any information.
okay, okay.
Okay.
And what was the, I mean, we have OAuth and OAuth 2, right? So
Mhm.
what exactly has been improved in OAuth 2, or was there any limitation with OAuth?
Okay. I was not sure whether we'll reach to this question, so
Okay.
I have not prepared a slide. But yeah, I'll tell you what exactly is the gist of what is the difference between these two. So OAuth 1 versus 2 is one has a lot of security stuff, and it is quite especially 1.0a, 1a you can say. Okay, so that is having all the standards around security are more robust, and it says that okay, this is the specs that you have to follow. You can't do any change. You have to use
Okay.
this. Whereas when we say OAuth 2, it is quite open, and it depends on the implementation. So anyway, people can have a different implementation. For example, if Facebook, sorry, Medium.com is supposed to integrate with these 4 applications like Google, Facebook, Apple, and Twitter. There would be 4 different ways of doing the integration. The way it is integrated with Google might be different from what is Facebook
Okay.
has implemented, because OAuth 2 is like guidance. It's like this is the way you should do. How to do that? That is up to you. So interoperability becomes a issue in case of OAuth 2.0. Whereas the signature, the security aspects, whatever we, as I mentioned about, using hashing algorithms and having that in a signature, hashing to integrate data integrity check and other stuff. So that these things are little bit, relaxed in 2.0, because
Okay.
it says funda is that it's trusted. You're talking to a trusted party. But in case of
Okay.
web, it becomes very vulnerable. So that is the reason even few organizations don't go for 2.0 immediately.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thanks. Thanks, Vinod. And one more question. Sorry. Can I ask, or we have time?
No, no
I
problem.
mean,
Go ahead.
so when we let's say if I want to implement this OAuth for myself for my own website, so if I present this page before I mean, so do I need to have any kind of contract or any kind of agreement with these that I'm from my side the call is being made to these sites kind of thing?
Yeah, so whenever we say these third-party applications like Google, Facebook, Apple, Twitter, or Yahoo, these kind of applications generally have their own open APIs which you can call, you can integrate with. So you don't need any special contract with that. But when you are talking about this is in case of 3 legs, it is very easy. But when you are talking about 2 legs or 1 leg, that time you need to have a contract. You need to have certificate exchanged with each other.
Okay.
So you have a trust relationship, and then you proceed on this.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Vinod.
Yeah, there is a simple process behind this. Whether if you wanted to go for Google, Facebook, and Apple, sorry to disturb. Okay,
Yeah,
so
no problem. Go ahead.
I just wanted to share the points. Like, one second.
Okay.
So whenever you wanted to go for Apple, Facebook, and Twitter, like this kind of stuff, now we have to create a one developer account over there. We just need to register our application into the developer account, and then we can use the social authentication to integrate that with our website, so it will work smoothly. Like whenever we are going
Okay.
to redirect URL, right? That redirect URL we also need to provide, like whenever the authentication completed, which URL that will be listening for the data, and so accordingly we can continue with the login, right?
Correct.
That URL also need to be configured on their developer account.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Thanks. Thanks, Sahil.
But that is but it is very quite easy. You can directly go. You don't have to actually go and talk to Google and say that I want to have this
Yeah.
relationship and do all that. Whereas in case of two
Okay.
legs or one leg, you will require a lot of efforts to set up have a trust relationship.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Fine. So I think Atul, I guess we are done with the questions. If there are no questions, I think we can conclude on time today.
Great achievement.
So are there any other questions? We can quickly take some more questions if there are any. Otherwise, I would hand it over to Om to just quickly run through the website so you understand the platform also. Any other questions from anyone?
Just one thing. So the previous session videos, is it available on YouTube with this Happy to Help channel, or where can I find it?
Yes. So if I have shared, I think Om has shared all the social media links. I don't see YouTube in it. I will ping it across. Or
Okay.
Om, if you have, or I will ping it across to you. That is another request. If you guys can go and like and subscribe to the pages, it will help.
Yep.
At YouTube, we need around 100 subscribers to get a custom URL. So it will really help if you guys can subscribe there.
Yeah.
We are at 40 now. So all the videos that or the webinars we are doing, we are publishing it there. Also, we are in the process of trying to convert this into a podcast and putting it up so it is easier to listen to as a audio. But as of now, we are splitting all the 1 hour sessions into two and publishing on the YouTube channel. So please do subscribe to the channel.
Okay. Great. Thanks. And what if someone wants to contribute? What is the process? I can find that process.
So Om will walk you through the website.
Okay.
So I'll hand it over to him. There is a way to register yourself as a mentor also, so you can, Neeraj, if you're interested, you
Okay.
can just go ahead and have a look at it and
Fine.
register.
Yeah. Got it. Thanks. Atul.
Om, over to you.
Yeah, Atul, thank you. So basically, everyone, thanks for joining. And we started this initiative during this COVID when we all are kind of locked up at our houses. So we thought how we can connect professionals wherein they can share their knowledge and expertise with each other and how they can kind of talk to each other. So basically we started this. Here we have like 2-3 formats. So you just had a webinar, so you know about it. We also have a format called Let's Talk, wherein we connect people to talk one-on-one. So I'll explain how you can do that. These are the certain topics we started with, and we could find few mentors who were from that particular domain. So these are the topics. These are few mentors who have joined us, and they are donating few hours every week, wherein you can go and talk to them one-on-one. So let's see, if I want to talk to Atul, I'll check Atul's calendar. Uh, so this is Atul's calendar. I can see that he's available on 9, 16th, etc. If I'm also free on 9th, I'll check the time, and then I can say confirm, and I have to give my name, email, and like what I want to talk. Like Atul has to prepare accordingly for the meeting. So I need to give some brief about what problem I want to solve or what all I'm looking forward to. And then I'll have to share my LinkedIn URL so that Atul can also look at my profile and understand that what background I come from. And this is how you can talk to any of the mentors who are listed here. If you are willing to be part of this community, you can click this link and register yourself as a mentor. If you have any query, you can send us email on this given email ID. To know more about why we started this and how we are conducting this and what is our long-term vision, you can just click this know more link and it will direct you to a slide which has details of our long-term vision and everything. This is our YouTube channel, like Atul already mentioned about it. So after every session, we are uploading the sessions here so that if in case you missed any session, then you get a link of it. If you have already registered for this session, then after this event, once these videos are uploaded, we'll send you an email with the link of the PPT, which Vinod was sharing, and also with the link of the videos of recording. So, and this is we are using to kind of manage our calendar. We are using Calendly. So here you will find all our mentors. Again, it's the same thing. The link which I was showing here under each member, each mentor profile. Similarly, you can check out and you can schedule any of the session. So yeah, how it is. I think we have shared all the URL in the chat box. I'll just share the URL of our
I have pushed it there. I have sent a YouTube URL also.
So the idea is to share our knowledge and expertise with others, and we are doing this free, and we are kind of connecting people who are willing to do it for free. Every Saturday evening, we are conducting this free webinar, and also we are connecting people to talk to each other one-on-one. So, yeah, over to you, Atul.
Right. So I have shared, Neeraj, I have shared the YouTube link there.
Yeah.
Also for everyone, like I said, please see if you can subscribe. It will help us. And the feedback link is also there. There are just like 2-3 questions in there. Like they're just check boxes. If you can go and submit feedback, that will be great. Like Om said, there is no intent of monetizing any of this. This is completely, like non-profit. There is, in fact, it is not non-profit. There is no money being made at all. So if you feel like you want to contribute to it, please reach out via the link, or you can just reach out to any of us directly and we can set up. Also, I would like to say that if there are any topics that you are interested in that you think more people will be interested in, you can either put it on the feedback link or on one of the one of the social media channels. If you put that up, we can see and figure out who we can get. Uh, Next week is going to be a session on. So we are not just doing technical stuff. We are trying to cover whatever topics are coming up. So next week is going to be something on yoga, and post that we will have a session by a published author on the economy. So hope you guys can join for those also. The details will come up on the social media platforms over the course of the next few days. So like I said, if you can subscribe, that will be great. Thanks, Vinod. Thanks again for the session. So that's about it, guys. Thanks for joining, and take care.